I never dreamed that when I was about to make my girlfriend, who I had been secretly dating for 8 years, openly talk to her at her doorstep. Xiaoyao, you went on a blind date without telling Chun-sen. Aren't you afraid that she will know and turn against you? She chuckled and answered confidently that she wouldn't do that for so many years. She followed me without a name or status, and no matter how much grievance she suffered, she never mentioned breaking up with me. To be honest, I love her very much, but we can't be together after all. My heart suddenly ached and I was stunned in place. It wasn't until my mother's inquiry sounded for the third time on the other end of the phone that I turned around and left with tears in my eyes. Mom, I'm fine. I just want to tell you about the marriage with the Jing family. I agreed. Do you think I'm your substitute? In the cafe, the man sitting opposite me, this face that is 30% similar to mine, but he smiled openly and wantonly. His name is Gu Yaowei, and he is the person that Mu Shuiyao's best friend said he was dating, and they are about to get engaged. Half an hour ago, when I staggered out of Mu Shuiyao's house, he stopped me downstairs. At this moment, compared with his indifference, I was a little at a loss. He smiled and gently placed the coffee on the table, but if he really loved you, why would he find a substitute, especially when you were by his side? It is undeniable that his words are reasonable, but I still find it difficult to let go of Mu Shuiyao after 8 years. As if he could see what was on my mind, he suddenly leaned forward and approached me. If you don't believe it, let's make a bet. Let's bet on who is more important in his heart. If he favors me again and again, you will take the initiative to withdraw. How about when Mu Shuiyao comes back? I am cooking his favorite shredded chicken porridge. I don't know why today's shredded chicken porridge always doesn't taste the same as usual. Even though the steps are the same. Mu Shuiyao put down her coat, came over to hug me and kissed me on the back. The porridge you cooked was still fragrant. I could smell it from a distance. My fingers paused and I turned my head to look at him. You really smelled good. He smiled softly. When did I ever tell a lie? I turned my head back in silence with a bitter throat. I never doubted every word he said to me before, but I didn't know until today. I believed too blindly. He clearly said that he wanted to be with me until the end, but today he told others that we couldn't be together. Then what are our 8 years? I reached out to turn off the fire and scraped the sticky porridge at the bottom of the pot with a spoon to show him, but he had already mushy it. Can't you smell it? He paused, took the spoon from my hand while laughing, and filled a bowl of porridge. It doesn't matter as long as it's cooked by my husband. I think it smells best even when it is mushy. He held the bowl and walked to the dining table with a smile on his face. I looked at his back and my eyes were red. When I followed him out, he had already eaten several mouthfuls of porridge. He was obviously frowning while eating, but when he looked up at me, he had to show a happy and satisfied expression. It turns out that he has always been wearing a mask like this, but I just didn't see through it. Don't eat it. I walked to the table and stopped him softly. He seemed not to hear it, took a big bite, blew it cool and put it in his mouth. Don't eat it. I raised the volume but it still didn't help. A burst of anger rushed into my heart. I raised my hand and overturned the whole bowl of porridge. The hot porridge poured into my hand, and the porridge bowl on the table fell to the ground. It was instantly torn into pieces. Mu Shuiyao was stunned for 2 seconds, and immediately took my hand, took me to the bathroom, and washed me with cold water. Despite this, the whole back of the hand was still like a cooked shrimp, and Mu Shuiyao's brows were furrowed deeper and deeper, and she couldn't help but blame him. It's just a bowl of porridge, it won't matter if it's a little mushy. As for knocking him over, I don't know him. My tears suddenly fell. It tasted bitter when it was mushy, just like the feelings between us, mixed with lies. Those true feelings can no longer be taken seriously. Seeing me crying, Mu Shuiyao was stunned for a moment, and then hurriedly wiped my tears. I won't say anything to you if you cry, okay? What's wrong with you today? It's my fault. I shouldn't have disobeyed you. You have to eat mushy porridge, don't cry, ancestor. He kept wiping my tears, but found that the more he wiped, the more tears there were, and finally he could only hug me helplessly. What did the ancestors do to stop you from crying? I opened my mouth and uttered a word in a hoarse voice for a long time. It hurts. She immediately let go of me, pursed her lips and went to get her coat. We went to the hospital. I leaned against the wall and watched her busy figure. I want to ask my aunt, the pain in my hand can still be treated, but how can I cure the pain in my heart? I didn't ask it after all. Before leaving, Mu Shuiyao's mobile phone suddenly rang. She looked at me, took the phone and walked aside to answer the call. I vaguely heard the man's suppressed voice. When I came back, her face was full of apologies. Husband, I have something very important to deal with temporarily. I'll help you apply some medicine first, and I'll accompany you to the hospital when I come back, okay? I looked at her, hooked the corners of my lips, and you go. It's important to do things. I can apply the medicine myself. Mu Shuiyao hesitated for a moment, hooked my neck, and her lips were imprinted on my side face. Then I will come back as soon as possible. I didn't respond. I just watched her leave quietly and closed the door casually. Mu Shuiyao said as soon as possible, but she didn't come back all night. I had a high fever in the middle of the night. My whole body felt like it was burning. When I was uncomfortable, I subconsciously took the phone and wanted to call Mu Shuiyao. But I saw a message from my brother Wang Yan, asking if this was Mu Shuiyao, and then a photo of Mu Shuiyao accompanying someone 4 and 4. The coat worn by the man in the photo is the same as the one worn by Mu Shuiyao. The man's head rested on Mu Shuiyao's shoulder, and he slept very sweetly. Mu Shuiyao protected the man's head with one hand and looked up at the 4 bottle. Although the photo was taken from a candid angle, it was still clear. I won't make a mistake, Mu Shuiyao. Well, he replied to the message. I no longer had the urge to look for Mu Shuiyao. I put down my phone and dragged my tired body to the refrigerator to get ice to cool myself down physically. When I returned to the bed, the news about Wang Yan exploded. Great, this is confirmed that he cheated on me. You waited for him for 8 years and this is how he repays you. I'm so mad. I checked that man brother's son is Gu Yaowei, the eldest son of the Gu family. I heard that he had just returned from New York and was forced by his family to go on a blind date. This matter was reported to Mu Shuiyao. See, I said a long time ago that Mu Shuiyao is unreliable. She has been with you for 8 years and made all kinds of excuses not to make it public. Now it's over, and she ran back to marry the eldest son. Brother son, why don't you say anything? Are you okay? Do you need me to go over to accompany you now? Brother son, if you really can't swallow this, I'll find someone to put up banners for the scumbag and the bitch tomorrow. I'll find someone now. After pondering for a while, I slowly put in my hand a line of words was typed on the phone. Actually, I know everything you said, but I don't care anymore. Wang Yan, I'm going back to Beijing to get married. After sending the message, I remembered that it's time to tell the company about my resignation. I have never liked the job of publicity and promotion, but because it was Mu Shuiyao who found the job for me, I did it with gritted teeth. Now, after sending the resignation letter and the leave application to the director's email at the same time, I lay down again, but I couldn't fall asleep. I kept my eyes open until dawn. After washing up, I went to the hospital alone. As soon as I walked into the hospital gate, my cell phone dinged. I received a message from Mu Shuiyao. Sorry dear, the matter has been delayed until now. You missed me, right? I will be back soon and bring you your favorite crab roe buns. Okay? I haven't replied yet, but I saw a familiar figure in the parking lot from the corner of my eye. In the closed car window, Mu Shuiyao was lying on her side. The man was obsessed with kissing the back of my head. He was really busy. I felt dizzy and quickly held onto the building next to me. After a long time, I put my phone in my pocket and stopped looking at the two of them. I walked into the outpatient building. When Mu Shuiyao called, the nurse happened to call my name. There was silence on the other end of the infusion phone for a few seconds before someone spoke in confusion. In the hospital, I responded softly, watching the nurse insert the needle into the vein. Didn't I tell you to wait for me to come back and take you there? Hearing his question, I looked at the dangling infusion bottle and laughed at myself. During the consultation, the outpatient doctor said that my fever had reached 42 degrees. If it continued, I might faint. If the fever lasted too long, I might even become stupid. But what about Mu Shuiyao? She clearly said she would come back as soon as possible, but she went to accompany someone else. I didn't intend to expose him. You are busy with business. I can't always do everything. To depend on you, people always have to learn to grow up. Mu Shuiyao paused for a moment, and then she said softly, Arson, you can always depend on me, you don't need to grow up. His words coincided with a scene on a rainy night when he was 16 years old. At that time, I was young and ignorant and faced the pressure of the college entrance examination. I had a big quarrel with my mother over a trivial matter. I ran away from home and hid at the door of a closed shopping mall. There was a heavy rain in front of me. I was sleepy and cold. It was Mu Shuiyao who found me. She was only 5 years older than me. She carried me on her back and comforted me with an umbrella. I was happy. At that time, I only felt that his back was very warm. I sniffed and asked him, Aunt, why are you so good to me? Mu Shuiyao was stunned and then smiled softly. Aunt, am I good to you? It's not that I'm not good, but my mother said that if you are too used to someone being good to you, you will become dependent and you will not grow up. Mu Shuiyao's footsteps stopped in the rain and turned her head. Come and see me, Asen, you can always rely on your aunt. You don't need to grow up. That sentence threw a stone into the heart of 16-year-old Chan Xian, causing ripples on the calm water surface, which lasted for 10 years. But when I hear this sentence again, my heart is no longer disturbed. I said, Aunt, people always have to learn to grow up. Later, Mu Shuiyao still came to the hospital. She sat beside me without saying a word. After a long time, she asked me, you have never called me aunt in these 8 years. Are you angry? I did not answer his question and closed my eyes and pretended to be asleep. He turned his head to look at me, sighed, took off his windbreaker and covered me with it. The residual perfume on the clothes instantly penetrated into my nose, choking me to tears. Mu Shuiyao did not notice my abnormality. He held his mobile phone and his whole attention was on the mobile phone. When I secretly wiped my tears, I saw his 5 fingers turning over. Fei with a smile on his face from time to time. Looking back, he seemed to be always like this recently. He never leaves his cell phone, as if he has endless topics to talk about with someone. I fell asleep unconsciously, and I don't know how long it had been before I was poked awake by the kid next door. When I looked at him with sleepy eyes, he pointed at my medicine and said, Brother, your needle has been returning blood for a long time. Your girlfriend has been calling you. You'd better call the nurse yourself quickly. Only then did I notice that my medicine had been empty long ago, and half of the infusion tube had returned blood. I don't know how long this situation lasted. I pursed my lips and glanced through the glass. Mu Shuiyao, who was still making a phone call outside the infusion room, rang the call bell herself. The nurse came over to check the situation, took a new infusion tube, pulled out the original one and gave me a new injection. Mu Shuiyao noticed the situation here and hung up the phone in a hurry. Come here, Asen, I'm sorry, I have something to do, so I'll go do it first. I didn't want to listen to his elaborate lies, so I interrupted his explanation first. Mu Shuiyao hesitated for a moment, but still gritted her teeth and said, sorry, Asen's company's situation is very urgent. You should get the infusion first and I'll pick you up. Looking at his back as he left in a hurry, I smiled and said, I will never wait for you again. After my aunt went home, I cleared his fingerprints from the door lock one by one, and even changed the password from the day we held hands to yesterday's new death date. After doing all this, I fell weakly on the sofa. When I woke up, there was a message from Mu Shuiyao on my phone, saying that he was going on a business trip for a while, the situation was urgent, and he would not come back to pack up. But he didn't know that after his message, Gu Yaowei also sent me a message. The first message was 2 business class tickets to Paris, France. The passengers were Gu Yaowei and Mu Shuiyao. The second message was Gu Yaowei's boasting. He heard that you were sick, but he promised to accompany me to France to take engagement photos. What should I do? I didn't reply. I got out of bed barefoot, cleared out all of Mu Shuiyao's clothes in the closet, and stuffed them into a cardboard box. Then, I packed up her belongings one by one and disappeared into the house. Wang Yin came to see me. Looking at the almost half-empty house, he couldn't help but sigh. It should have been like this a long time ago. The house was instantly brighter without him. After that, he patted my shoulder and said, brother son, you deserve better. Mu Shuiyao doesn't deserve you at all. He stayed with me in the house for 5 days until I recovered. He was willing to send me to the company to handle the handover procedures. When handling the procedures, the director said embarrassedly that he had to inform Mu Shuiyao first. I wanted to stop him but failed. Fortunately, when the call came, Mu Shuiyao seemed very busy and anxious. The director hadn't said anything yet halfway through. He said he knew and asked the director to do as I said. The director was relieved and released him. After completing the formalities, Wang Yin waved his hand and called a few brothers to reunite in the bar. Seeing them laughing and joking, my mood also improved a lot. Amid the noise, I bought a ticket to Beijing North the next day. I was not good at parting, so I packed my luggage early and left before Wang Yin woke up. On the table was a house transfer agreement. Before boarding the plane, Gu Yaowei sent another photo. In the photo, Gu Yaowei's broad hands tightly grasped Mu Shuiyao's slender fingers, and the couple rings on them were extremely eye-catching. At this point, you still don't plan to quit. I smiled and replied to him that I lost, but Gu Yaowei, you may not be the winner. After the message was sent, I blacklisted him and Mu Shuiyao. The moment the plane took off, I looked down from the window at this city that I once missed because of someone, but my heart felt relieved. As for Mu Shuiyao, I don't think I need to explain anything to her. Even the word break up seems redundant. I only hope that we will never meet in this life. The plane landed 3 hours later. As soon as I left the airport, I saw a strange woman holding up a pickup sign with my name on it, which was very conspicuous. I turned my back and just turned on my phone, and my mother's message popped up. Son, since you don't want mom to pick you up, then mom will send your fiancé to pick you up. Seize the opportunity, come on. I couldn't help but cover my face. Thank you, my dear mother. After taking a few deep breaths to ease some of the embarrassment, I walked towards the woman with my back teeth bitten. Hello, Jing Xianyue, I'm Chan Sr. I extended my hand to her politely, thinking that she would put down the conspicuous pickup sign. Unexpectedly, he stared at me blankly for a few seconds, revealing a row of white teeth. Hello, Mr. Chun, I am Mr. Jin's assistant. Mr. Jin sent me to pick you up in the car. I coughed twice awkwardly, indicating that he could put the sign down. It was a misunderstanding. I was even less looking forward to this already awkward meeting. I followed the assistant into the underground parking lot. The door of the car wrapped in a red flag slowly opened in front of me, revealing a pair of slender thighs. A woman got out of the car in a formal dress, and her slender figure stood in front of me. Hello, Chun-san, I am Jin Xianyue. Her voice was clear and magnetic. She politely stretched out her hand to me. I looked at that hand, smiling. Since Miss Jean was so busy, why did she agree to my mother's trip? She looked at me in surprise and then laughed. It was my problem. I didn't expect you to misunderstand. I didn't go to the airport to pick her up in person. It's not because I don't want to go, nor do I want to use Chow to intimidate you, but because the company encountered some temporary problems, and we had to hold a temporary meeting in the car. Sorry, as if he was afraid that I wouldn't believe him, he turned around and took the open notebook, and showed me the length of the video conference just now. I realized that I had misunderstood him. I became more and more embarrassed and apologized quickly. Sorry, I was a mean person and judged others by my own standards. I thought you were dissatisfied with this marriage. Jing Xianyue still smiled frankly, and her eyes met mine, shining brightly. In fact, I like it very much. Aunt Meow's inconsistent sentences stunned me. Just when I wanted to listen to her second half, she turned sideways and politely invited me to get in the car. She didn't continue the previous topic until we got in the car and started it. This marriage was actually proposed by me. Although I have never met Mr. Chun, I have a close relationship with Aunt Meow. I think Aunt Meow is so well, the son she raised shouldn't be too bad. Born in this circle, arranged marriage is a must, so instead of letting them choose, I think it's better for me to take the initiative and choose a mother-in-law who is pleasing to the eye. I was surprised to hear for the first time that people choose their wives based on the character of the mother-in-law, but I did understand what he meant. He would not be dissatisfied with this arranged marriage. After a long silence, I decided to be frank and tell him my story openly. I concealed Mu Shuyao's identity and only said that I had a girlfriend who I had been dating for 8 years, but she cheated on me in the end. If he minded, the marriage could be ended at any time. But he didn't seem to mind at all after hearing that. Instead he chuckled. Why should I mind? Is it that Mr. Chun can't forget her? No, I have let it go. Fearing that he would misunderstand, I hurried to explain, but he laughed even more happily. Isn't that enough? Not only do I not mind, but I think you are very loyal. In fact, in our circle there are many people like your ex-girlfriend. It is really precious that she can devote herself wholeheartedly and accompany him for 8 years. It's a pity that he doesn't cherish it. I bet he will regret it in the future. After saying that, he winked at me, and I was amused by him and couldn't help laughing. The sense of restraint on my body disappeared without a trace. We talked and laughed all the way. The car soon stopped at the door of my villa. I got out of the car with my luggage. As soon as I said a few polite words to him, my mother rushed out and said, "Yeah, you are here, come in and sit down." Jing Xianyu got out of the car, greeted my mother with a smile and then looked at me again. "No, auntie, there are still some things waiting for me to deal with in the company. Hey, you are too capable." My mother held her hand, and there was no longer the existence of me, her own son, in her eyes. It was not until Jing Xianyu left that my mother blinked. She leaned in front of me and said, "Son, this wife your mother found for you is fine. Let me tell you, there are so many young masters in Beijing who want to marry her, but she doesn't like them. You must cherish her." I looked at her helplessly and said, "Mom, tell me the truth, if you hadn't liked this daughter-in-law, would you have forgotten that you have a son?" My mother snorted and taught me how to start. She walked into the house while complaining to me. "How dare you say that? You haven't been back in Jiang City for so many years. What's the use of having you in my heart? Ye is different. Since I met this girl, she accompanies me shopping from time to time. When your mother encountered some troubles in the company, it was the girl who helped me solve them." Seeing that my mother was getting angrier and angrier, my guilt also rose. My father died when I was young. In order to take care of me, my mother retired from her frontline job and started a business while taking care of me. Then for many years I have seen her bitterness and difficulties, but when I grew up, I separated from her for the ignorant feelings in my heart, leaving her alone in Beijing North, and never thought about her difficulties. Thinking of this, I wanted to slap myself, and at the same time, a trace of gratitude rose in my heart towards Jin Xianyu. I took 2 quick steps and took my mother's arm. "Mom, I'm sorry, son. I swear that from now on I will not go anywhere and will stay in Beijing North to accompany you. Starting tomorrow, I will go to the company and learn from you to manage the company's affairs." My mother was visibly happy when she heard it. "Are you serious? Are you really coming back to take over the company?" Well, she laughed for a while, asked the servants to send the luggage to my room, and pulled me to sit down. In fact, Mom doesn't really blame you. A young bird has to learn to fly when it grows up. How can Mom expect you to be by her side forever? It's just that our family business is the result of Mom's hard work. There is someone to take over, Mom. After chatting for a while, my mom suddenly thought of her good sister Mu Shuiyao, and pulled me to ask why your aunt didn't come with you. "Didn't I ask you to invite her to your wedding? Let me remind you, your aunt has a bad temper. She has watched you grow up. You are getting married, such a big thing. If you don't invite her, she will be angry with you. I can't coax her well. I didn't want to tease her, but I was afraid that my mom would notice something strange, so I had to bite the bullet and lie. I told my aunt, but my aunt is very busy recently." My mom didn't care. What is she busy with? She is busy all day. How can that company be so busy? How can you understand her? Busyness, I couldn't help but complain in my heart, but I replied obediently, "My aunt is going to get engaged soon. There are many things to do during an engagement." My mother was surprised when she heard that. "He is getting engaged, but the damn girl kept it from me. I haven't heard anything from him. No, I have to call him and talk to him." Seeing my mother reaching for her phone, my heart beat quickened suddenly. I hurriedly held her hand and said, "Mom, stop calling me." My mother looked at me, her eyes gradually became serious. "Son, you and your aunt are not hiding something from me, are you?" I coughed lightly, realizing that I had overreacted just now. I hurried to ask me if she was hiding something from you. "I just felt that my aunt must have had her reasons for not telling you. You called her to ask, isn't that betraying me? It makes me look so big-mouthed, right?" My mother's frown gradually relaxed, and her hand that was reaching for the phone also loosened. "Okay, for my son's face. Then this I won't call for now. I'll pick up the phone when I find a suitable opportunity." He asked me tentatively. I smiled at her with a fake smile and made the excuse that I was too tired. I went back to my room to rest. Just as I walked up the stairs, my mother's smiling voice came from behind me again. "By the way, Mom asked Yaya for you. She thinks you are very good. In order to strike while the iron is hot, Mom will make an appointment with her tomorrow to take you to buy a car." I staggered and almost missed a step. The first night back in Jingbei, I slept more soundly than ever before. When I woke up the next day, there were several unfamiliar missed calls on my phone, but I ignored them and went downstairs for breakfast. Jin Qianyue had arrived at my house a long time ago. She shook hands with my mother and chatted harmoniously in the living room. I paused on the stairs and couldn't help thinking that if I really married Jing Xianyue, I wouldn't have to dealing with the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law is also good. My mother turned around and saw that I was in a daze. She waved at me and asked, "Come down quickly, son, why are you in a daze?" I coughed lightly and went downstairs quickly. After getting in the car, Jin Xianyue handed me a document very naturally. I flipped through it and found that he had made a detailed introduction to some recent new models, and even the advantages and disadvantages of the appearance were integrated in great detail. "You did all this. Well, don't you men dislike wandering around? So I did this. I was a little rushed, so I only picked some new models that are more popular among men nowadays." he said as he flipped through a few pages of the guide and pointed to a silver gray SUV. If you can't make up your mind, you can consider this one. This car has better driving performance. And the material is relatively stable and the smart system is mostly practical. I have to say that with his guide, I, who am not very familiar with cars, quickly picked one. He is really attentive, and I can't help but feel warm in my heart. After choosing the car, I looked at my watch and suggested having a meal together, just as a thank you for accompanying me to buy a car today, and making that guide carefully. He readily agreed, without the kind of tricky feeling that Mu Shuiyao gave me. On the way back, Jing Xianyue suggested that I drive my new car for a spin, and I was a little nervous. Goodbye, although I got my driver's license a long time ago. This is my first time on the road. Jing Xianyue pulled the passenger seat open and sat in without saying a word. The more you have never been on the road, the more you should be brave to go on the road. Don't worry, I will take care of everything when you get on the road. Seeing his indifferent look, I gritted my teeth and sat in the car. He guided me and drove the car to a road with few cars nearby. I drove the car to my destination. He didn't laugh at me. Instead, he kept encouraging and praising me. He gave me full emotional value. In the end, I actually felt that I had become much more proficient and drove the car back home safely. When I didn't dare to reverse into the garage, he taught me how to use the smart parking function. From that day on, he started to take me out to practice driving every day. Time passed quickly. After 3 days, Jing Xianyue and I got along more and more naturally. At my mother's suggestion, the two families picked a suitable day to meet and confirmed the wedding date. At night, Wang Yan called me. I picked up the phone and an anxious voice floated over from the other end of the phone. Brother Sen and Mu Shuiyao came back to contact me. I can't fasten it. Are you crazy and have to find someone to pick the lock of your house? What should I do? I was silent for a while and replied to him, let him in. Wang Yan, I thought that seeing the empty room, Mu Shuiyao would understand the fact that I left and would let go. I never dreamed that he would have the courage to fly to Beijing to find me. After dinner with Jing Xianyue that day, he sent me to the door. Mu Shuiyao suddenly rushed out from the roadside with flowers, which scared me. I subconsciously took Jing Xianyue into my arms. Mu Shuiyao was stunned for a few moments and suddenly became angry. And who is he? Why do you want to hug him? I saw that the person coming was him. I frowned and pulled Jing Xianyue behind me. This is none of your business. What are you doing in my house? It's none of my business. Mu Shuiyao's voice suddenly became higher and her eyes were red. Chan-san, have you forgotten what our relationship is? I know you are mad at me, I didn't stay when you were sick. But you also know I was busy with work. Arson, come here, I can tolerate your pettiness, but I will never tolerate betrayal. You'd better draw a line between yourself and this woman now. I laughed, and Mu Shuiyao frowned and warned her. Arson, I stopped, the look in her eyes became colder, and I returned the same words to you intact. What do you mean? Mu Shuiyao's brows frowned more and more, gradually forming a Chan character, still stubbornly blocking our way. You left without saying a word, without even an explanation. And now I come to coax you. Do you have to take the bridge? I'm so angry that I laugh at you. You have to make it clear, right? Okay, I'll fulfill your wish. This on the night of the 14th of the month. Where was your aunt? Do you remember? Mu Shuiyao just opened her mouth to answer. I sneered and answered for her first. In the hospital, your aunt left me who was burned that day and stayed with Gu Yaowei in the hospital all night. She looked at me in surprise, and her face turned pale in an instant. How do you know? Is that right? In fact, I know much more than that. I know that your aunt said that the company had an emergency, but she was actually accompanying Gu Yaowei. I also know that the so-called business trip was actually a trip to Paris to set the tone. I also know that the ring on your aunt's finger is a pair with the diamond ring on Gu Yaowei's finger. I watched her subconsciously hide her fingers behind her back, and her smile became more sarcastic. Also, your aunt never wanted to be with me from the beginning. You lied to me for 8 years and I didn't make a fuss with you. It's because of my mother's consideration, and we want to leave each other with the last bit of dignity. Have I explained it clearly enough now? Go ahead. I looked at him coldly and pulled Jing Xianyue towards the villa. Don't go, Asen, listen to my explanation. Mu Shuiyao held me and pushed Jing Xianyue away. Jing Xianyue curled the corners of her lips and smiled coldly in front of me for the first time. Chen-sen, you saw it. He was the first to start. As soon as she finished speaking, Jing Xianyue slapped Mu Shuiyao hard. Mu Shuiyao was not to be outdone. She got up and started to fight back, but Jing Xianyue dodged it easily. Don't hit me. I was anxious to go forward and pull them away, for fear that they would make a big noise and get my mother out, but it was too late. The iron door behind them creaked open, and my mother walked out with a gloomy face. Let them hit you, come in with me. I bit my lower lip and glanced at the two people who were fighting fiercely with concern. Jing Xianyue's fight was obviously very methodical, and it seemed that she had practiced before. I felt relieved a little and turned around and followed my mother into the house. My mother was sitting on the sofa and patted me, the seat next to me, and said, "Tell me what's going on." Seeing that she couldn't hide it from me, she sat down and explained everything that had happened in the past 8 years. After listening, my mother didn't speak for a long time. She just smoked a cigarette in silence in my uneasiness, and smiled to the end. She turned her head and asked the housekeeper if their fight had any results. The housekeeper nodded and said that they had separated a long time ago, and were sitting outside now. Let them in. My mother rubbed her eyebrows, looking tired, which made me feel more guilty. After a while, Jing Xianyue walked in first. She looked indifferent, except for a little red on her forehead. Even her clothes were not messy. On the other hand, Mu Shuiyao's white windbreaker was covered with dust. She walked with a limp, and there was dried blood at the corners of her mouth. After motioning for the two to sit down, my mother looked at Mu Shuiyao and slowly spoke. I have known you for 15 years. Over the years, I have always treated you as a real sister. Having said that, you are not Chun-sen's biological aunt after all, and you are only 5 years apart in age. If you truly love each other, I am not an unreasonable person. However, not only did you deceive Chun-sen's feelings, but in the end you also bullied him like this. Shuiyao, I have misjudged you all these years. Since you already have a new love, don't bother me anymore. You can go. From now on our sisterhood is over. Let's say goodbye. Chun-sen's marriage is the family's intention. The reason why I chose Gu Yaowei is because I can't let go of this relationship. If you meet Gu Yaowei, you will know how much he looks like Chan Sr. He shed tears as he spoke, and his affectionate look made Jin Xianyue laugh. So what you mean is that because you can't let go of Chan Sun, you found a substitute for him and plan to get married. Shut up. This matter has nothing to do with you. Mu Shuiyao glared at him fiercely. Her voice was very harsh, but Jin Xianyue didn't take his words seriously. She spread her hands and said, "Who said it has nothing to do with me? I'm his fiancé, so I naturally have an obligation to stop it." He was deceived by someone with ulterior motives. Mu Shui stood up with red eyes, looking like she was trying her best. "Shut up or Chun-sen won't marry you." "Shut up." My mother yelled angrily and slapped the coffee table, causing the two to be promoted to substitutes directly. Chun-sen's father passed away 20 years ago. I remember him and thought of him, but I never thought of finding a substitute for him. I'm an experienced person, you can't deceive me. If you really love Chun-sen, you will only think about how to convince me to let you be together, instead of looking for a substitute to hurt Chun-sen's heart. As for the marriage, is our Sheng family not worthy of your Mu family? Mu Shuiyao, ask yourself how many connections in your company did I give you, and how many crises did I help you through? Get out of my house now, don't force me to call people to drive you away. Mu Shuiyao had an ugly expression on her face, and she looked at me pleadingly. Seeing that I had no intention of speaking for her, she walked out unwillingly. When she reached the door, she clenched her fists and turned her back to us and said, "I did something wrong, but I won't give up. Asen, I know you won't believe anything I say now, so I'll prove it to you with my actions." After saying this, he strode out. My mother sighed and finally looked at Jingxian. "You have seen Yu's current situation. Although I think Chun-sen did nothing wrong, it is you two who will live together in the future. I have to ask you, do you mind Chun-sen's past?" Jin Xianyue glanced at me and put on a standard smile. Aunt Miao, in fact, when Chun-sen met me for the first time, he told me very clearly that I was not in the past. I don't care about these things. Besides, after spending a few days together, I feel from the bottom of my heart that Chun-sen is a very good person. Compared with other people, I think he is more trustworthy. My mother nodded and said, "I know your attitude. You should go back first. Let's talk alone, father and daughter." After Jin Xianyue left, I thought my mother would blame me, but she hugged me, her voice full of guilt. "It was my fault. I trusted the wrong person and left you alone in Zhang's for so many years." I hugged her, my heart was filled with self-blame. "Mom, what does this have to do with you? I shouldn't have hidden it from you. I made the wrong choice." My mother patted my back again and again. "It doesn't matter, son. If you made a wrong choice, you made a wrong choice. There is no wasted journey in life. Right and wrong both count. In the future, Mom will accompany you on the road ahead. The whole text is over.